Today, we're diving into the story of a truly remarkable figure from Japanese history. We're talking about a poet, an artist, a spiritual master, a man whose entire life was like an epic quest for a divine, illuminating truth. This is the story of Kukai.
But here's the thing, we're not going to start at the beginning. We're starting with these words, right here. They were spoken by a master to a student who had just crossed a treacherous sea to find him. It's a line that just screams destiny, a meeting that was meant to be. We'll come back to this, I promise. But first, let's meet the boy who would one day hear these words.
So let's go back to the very first chapter of his life, where a young boy felt this undeniable pull towards something, well, something much, much bigger than himself.
Okay, so picture this. It's 8th century Japan. We're on a windswept cliffside, and a young boy named Mao, who the world would later know as Kukai, is just staring out at the sea. From his earliest days, he had this deep-down feeling, this inner voice telling him he was born for some great mission. He had no idea what it was yet, but he could feel it.
This right here, this is the moment that changes everything. He's meditating in a cave at Moroto Cape, and as the morning sun hits the ocean, he has this mystical vision. A brilliant, massive pillar of light just envelops him. And this wasn't just some daydream, this was the spark. This was the event that set him off on his lifelong quest for that very light, for the truth behind it.
So that vision, it sets him on a whole new path. But believe me, it was not an easy one. His search for a deeper meaning for that light would soon force him to look far, far beyond the shores of his own country.
He heads to the capital, Nara, to study with the best minds of his time. But what he finds there is a huge letdown. The big, established Buddhist schools just felt so rigid, so stuffy. It was all about doctrine and formality, not about genuine spiritual experience. The answers he was looking for, they just weren't there. This left him with this massive, burning question, a question that would completely define the next chapter of his life. If the profound truth he had glimpsed in that pillar of light wasn't in the most sacred halls of Japan, then where on earth could it be?
And to find his answer, he had to go on a pretty epic journey. After getting fed up in Nara, he retreats into the mountains. There, deep in meditation, he has another cosmic vision that convinces him the truth he's looking for lies across the sea. So what does he do? He gets on a boat and undertakes this incredibly dangerous, life-threatening voyage to Tang, China, and its magnificent capital, Chang'an.
And this journey, well, it leads him to the single most important meeting of his entire life. He survives the storms, he arrives in the heart of this massive foreign empire, all to find the one person who he believes holds the key.
So in Chang'an, which was basically the center of the world back then, Kukai tracks down a master named Keika. And Keika wasn't just some teacher, he was the 7th patriarch, the one and only living heir to this incredibly powerful and deep line of esoteric Buddhist teachings. He was the guy. And here we are, we're back to that quote from the very beginning. The moment Master Keiki lays eyes on Kukai, he says these words. Can you just imagine that? You risk your life, you travel all that way, and the person you've come to see tells you he was expecting you? It's a moment just dripping with destiny. What happens next is just mind-blowing. Kukai doesn't just learn from Keika, he absorbs everything, the entire complex system of teachings, at a speed that was just unbelievable. In a matter of months, a few months, Keika not only initiates him, but declares this foreigner from Japan as the 8th patriarch, his true successor. He hands over everything to Kukai.
But their time together was tragically short. As Master Keika lay dying, he gave Kukai his final instruction, and it was a big one. This was no longer just about Kukai's personal search for truth. His new mission was to take these teachings, to take this light, and bring it back home for everyone else who was searching. So, armed with this profound knowledge and a brand new mission, Kukai heads back to Japan. But you can imagine, trying to introduce such a radical new way of thinking to a country with its own deep-rooted traditions, yeah, that was never going to be simple. And he faced conflict almost immediately. The old guard of Buddhism in Japan was very formal, tied to the state, and pretty much just for the elite. Kukai's new path, which he called Shingon, or true word, was all about direct experience. It was for everyone. It taught this wild idea that enlightenment wasn't some distant goal you might reach in another lifetime. It was possible right here, right now, in this very body. And of course, that was met with a ton of suspicion. To make this work, he really needed someone powerful in his corner. And he found that person in Emperor Saga.
The emperor wasn't just impressed by Kukai's spiritual teachings. He was completely captivated by the man himself, his brilliant mind, his beautiful poetry, his incredible skill as an artist. This imperial support was the game changer. It gave him the protection he needed.
With the emperor's blessing, Kukai was granted a place to build a new home for his teachings, and he chose this incredible remote, mist-shrouded mountain peak, Mount Koya, a place of just serene beauty and immense spiritual power. This would become the headquarters of Shingon Buddhism, and it still is to this day. But Kukai's impact wasn't just confined to monasteries or the imperial court. Not at all. His whole philosophy demanded action, out in the world. And his legacy is defined just as much by his compassion for ordinary people as it is by his spiritual wisdom.
He truly was the perfect example of what's called a living Bodhisattva. So what is that? It's an enlightened being who, instead of just achieving their own salvation and checking out, chooses to stay in the world to help everyone else. For Kukai, enlightenment wasn't an escape, it was a call to serve.
And this wasn't just some abstract idea. We're talking about real, hands-on, practical stuff. He was out there all over the country, digging wells for communities that needed water, building bridges to connect towns, taking care of the sick and orphaned. He even established Japan's very first school that was open to absolutely everyone, no matter their social status.
Now, as his life started drawing to a close, Kukai made this really remarkable declaration. He told his followers, "Look, I'm not preparing to die, not in the way you think. Instead, he said he was preparing to enter a state of Nujo, eternal meditation, so he could continue his work for the world from a different state of being."
His final words brought his whole life's journey full circle. From that young boy who saw a pillar of light in a cave to the master who brought that light to an entire nation. He saw this last act as just a simple returning, a merging back into the source of everything.
And this is the powerful belief that lives on. Up on Mount Koya in the inner sanctuary, it's believed that Kukai isn't gone. He's still there, in that state of eternal meditation, continuing to watch over and offer compassion to all of us. His work, they say, never really ended.
When you boil it all down, Kukai's incredible life was a quest for illumination, a journey to find the truth, and then share it in the most practical, compassionate ways you can imagine. And it kind of leaves us with a question to reflect on, doesn't it? His journey was a search for light. Where is your own search leading you?